Oh, what a sad occasion when you got to go to a funeral. But for some reason, I'm not sad. You might ask, well, why not? Well, we come to bury something that should never have come about. You might say, man, that sounds so cruel. Why would you say such a thing? Let me tell you what we come to bury. Every time that Latin breakdown tries to rise up from the dead, we got to put that heat on it.
I didn't kill much. Some things need getting rid of.
When I think about the controversy surrounding hip-hop and certain claims by the Latino community, at least some in the Latino community, who are suggesting that they are co-creators of hip-hop, I think about this game. Just imagine that the tower represents Black American culture, and also the tower represents hip-hop. As the narrative has always been for decades, it comes from Black culture. But now you have certain Latinos who are trying to rewrite that history by slowly taking one peg out at a time in an effort to crumble the tower. Why would they want to crumble the tower? Because they want to uplift themselves to the point or to the status of being able to say, we created this hip hop. We are as important to the creation of hip hop as any other group in New York City. So this is what they're doing, but we're not going to allow that to happen.
In San Francisco, on African Liberation Day, Brother Walter Rodney, an African historian, noted both the importance of African Liberation Day in terms of our African identity and some of the root causes for our problem of identification.
I have met brothers and sisters who say that their mother tongue, quote unquote, is French, Spanish, Dutch, Portuguese, as well as English, which we speak.
People's war! People's war is gonna win! People's war is gonna win!
African Liberation Day, which is traditionally celebrated throughout the African world each May 25th, was the occasion this year for the largest all-Black assembly ever held in Washington, D.C. More than 30,000 Blacks, representing a wide cross-section of political ideologies, gathered at the culmination of a two-day conference on Africa. The underlying themes behind the conference and march were to heighten the awareness of Blacks in this country to the plight of our brothers and sisters in Africa, to create some ongoing organization that would actively aid Black freedom fighters in those African countries still under white colonial rule, to begin to link our future as a self-determined, free people with that of Africans, and to begin to act as a unified body of Blacks who will influence U.S. policy towards Africa.
Black leadership, and we must put together a nationalist party, a pan-Africanist party. What the National Black Political Convention tried to do in Gary was to set out on the course toward creating a political structure that has a Black value system, a political structure that can move the masses of the people, a political structure that understands Pan-Africanism and the struggle all over the world to unify African people and to liberate the continent of Africa and to create self-determination for African people wherever they are. I think that today proves, first of all, that those of us who are talking about nationalism and talking about Pan-Africanism that there is a constituency for that. There are over 25,000 people here in Washington today talking about nationalism and Pan-Africanism, talking about African liberation. So the next time anybody wants to tell you that you don't have a constituency or ideology is in the minority, point out the fact of the 25,000 or 30,000 people who came to Washington, D.C. today to celebrate African Liberation Day, to support African liberation.
The architect of the concept, Unity Without Uniformity, Imamu Baraka, is also head of the Committee for a Unified Newark and was a co-chairman of the recent Black Political Convention. He has evolved as a leading spokesman for Pan-Africanism and Black nationalism.
I thought it would be informative for everyone to know what was going on in the early 70s amongst many Black Americans. So the first video I showed was a celebration that took place in San Francisco. And if you watch, there was a lady marching. She was playing a West African instrument called the shakere. All right. 9 times out of 10, there were probably other African instruments played in the crowd. However, it points to the fact that Black Americans and other Black individuals in America was trying to connect themselves to African identity. That's important to know as we have this discussion. The second video speaks volumes. It lays out the agenda of those who were, in the crowd in Washington, D.C. And then you saw the dancing, you saw and heard the music being played. None of that was inspired by Latino culture. They were not playing the guaguancó. No one referenced Latino culture in these celebrations.